Hello everyone, in today's video we're going to go over what type of crypto asset are you actually buying. So I'm going to start today off with a quote from Arthur Hayes. A share of a stock in a company is the net present value of all future dividends, which implies that stocks have intrinsic value. It is intellectually lazy to compare Bitcoin, which possesses no income stream, against a stock that does. This leads me to believe that most financial journalists do not fundamentally understand any of the financial assets that they write about daily. The mischaracterization of Bitcoin and its value proposition further illustrates their ignorance. The second facet of Bitcoin and the market that pains me is that many don't understand exchange rates. If Bitcoin has no intrinsic value, its value comes from the market's perception of its moneyness, which means that Bitcoin has a price only versus another asset, crypto coin, or fiat currency. Therefore, either Bitcoin can be in a bubble now, or the asset it is valued against was previously. So he has a great point. And what I want to go over today is that a lot of cryptos have no real value. A lot of times we like to look at them as if they were a stock in a company. But when you are buying a crypto, you are not buying equity. A lot of times you're just buying a coin that has no value. That company can do really, really well, and that coin could stay the same exact price. So you need to make sure that if you're going in buying a piece of crypto, that it has some sort of value. And we're going to go over the ways that we break this down into 3 different categories to try and find value in a crypto. So the 3 that we have is a currency. The second one is that it is backed by something. And the final thing is that it gives you rights to something. So the first one is a currency. And how do you value a currency? Its value comes from how used it is going to be. So if you think a currency is going to be used more in the future, it is going to become more valuable. A lot of times these cryptos are what we would call deflationary, meaning that there is only a certain supply of them. They cannot make more. They are not inflationary. So if you think the currency is going to be used more in the future, it is going to have a higher demand. And the supply is not going to move anywhere, thus the price will go up. But a lot of times these currencies aren't actually going to be used. So just because a company comes out with their currency and they say, oh, it's going to be used on their platform, if you don't see a real use case for it, it probably doesn't have a lot of value. So some currencies that we think are good value in the currency section would be stuff like Bitcoin, would be something like Ripple, maybe even something like Dash. The next category that we look at is that it is backed by something, right? A lot of these coins are backed by, whether it's the US dollar, they're backed by oil, backed by gold. And when you look at this, the only thing that you can determine is the value of that asset. Do you think the value of that asset is going to go up in the future? If you look at something like Tether, obviously it's going to hold even because the value of the asset is the US dollar. So it's not going to move much. But if you buy a coin that is backed by gold and you think gold is going to go up, that's where that value would be. Now the final category that we look at is going to be, does this coin give you a right to something? This is where we look at proof of stake. And proof of stake means, in a very simplified fashion, is that if you hold more of this token, it gives you more of a right to future tokens. Essentially, it gives you more voting rights on their network. Now, we see in 2018, where Ether is going to shift over to a proof of stake model. And we think that Ether would be a very high valued proof of stake because the rights to Ether would be very, very high, right? If you have more voting power on the Ether network, that is very valuable, okay? So when you look at the coins that you're thinking about investing in, make sure that they fall into one of these 3 categories, or maybe they make up a brand new category. But just because it's a great company and a great idea and a great technology doesn't mean that the coin has value.